What's up, guys? Pittsburgh Weiss Schwarz back again, continuing Data Live set review. I'm going to run through the spiel that I gave at the beginning of the TD one, because I know a lot of people are going to skip the TD one. So, we're doing the review of the Japanese set as it stands now, as if it is coming to English untouched. We think we're all pretty much on the level it's probably coming to English untouched. Reasons why Nisekoi version E was really poorly received. And Sunshine Extra Booster, when it came over, was already on the restriction list when it did. So I think the community is like in the 5 stages of grief, and people are really wrestling with the denial and the bargaining part in terms of thinking that it's going to be nerfed, and y'all just going to have to adapt.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like a very good set so far. Trial deck was pretty average.
Yeah,
pretty
trial
bad,
deck's
yeah.
pretty bad outside of the Cowgirl. Which was the one thing from the trial deck. If you're not going to go back and watch the trial deck video, you need at least one TD because there are 2 Cowgirls in the trial deck that you need to get. So, but yeah, if the set changes in a radical way or some cards are changed, we'll have either a short video going over the cards that are changed and how they change the set and our thoughts on that, or we'll have to do a whole nother set review if the set is completely different. So yeah. We'll have to see. That'll probably be post-release content just due to the way that releases work, which is, and we touched on this in the channel update video if you didn't catch that, the way English releases work is we will not know all the cards until the set actually drops, so we can't even start making the set review until then. So if Data Live gets changed in a crazy way, we won't be able to update this until
Really?
the actual thing comes out.
Oh, it's so lame.
Yeah, it's really lame.
This will be the one time Bushi throws a wrench into it.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if they do anything, I'm willing to bet that this set is or will be the set that sets off an English ban list. But more than likely, they probably won't do anything at all.
Yep, that sounds like more like their speed.
I mean, if it's gonna happen, it has to be this.
It has to be this, right? But yeah, I just want
just Gorilla Grodd after that.
I just wanted to get that out there because we know from the analytics, a lot of people skip the TD ones and go straight to yellow or whatever the first color is in the set. So just wanted to get that out there before we get into the actual cards. But now we're good to start. So Andy, you want to kick us off with our first double rare here?
Certainly, Carmen. I'd be honored. We got this Kurumi. Looking proud. At the start of your climax phase, choose one of your characters. They get 500 power. Brainstorm. Flip over 4 cards. Reach climax search. It's all right.
Pretty good.
I can dig it.
Yeah,
So elemental is what the actual spirit DL translates to. I guess the trial deck was translated first. And this is more accurate.
The Kurumi grabs date trait characters and the spirit trait from Fujita.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
This is spirit DL.
Oh, this
from
is
the
spirit
trial
DL.
deck. Yeah.
Okay.
Elemental is spirit DL.
So
Okay.
date and elemental are the common traits.
These are the common traits. So it searches everything. This is Remy, but search. Notably, it is yellow for builds that are trying to splash into yellow to squeeze the event. Such as 8 standby. This is an easy way to do it. There are a couple easy yellow fixes. The fact that it's a totally playable brainstorm is fine.
Yeah, I like the completely always reoccurring first ability. That's nice.
Yeah, that ability is always good. Just always good.
Not just one and done. That's pretty sweet.
I
agree with Bryce.
Seems like a pretty solid.
I'm more
to me.
thing Carmen is saying about the
It's easy
if
yellow
you're trying to
fix.
splash yellow to accommodate the event. This is super hands-on head way of doing it. Just slap 3 or 4 of these in there.
Well,
Yeah,
it's funny that you mentioned the count.
Color in the set.
It's funny you mentioned the count. Data Live is literally a set where you only need 2 brainstorms, and you regularly do not field a brainstorm other than to play it, and then every other turn you rest it from My Little Shido. You have so much deck control, you don't need a brainstorm. It's really disgusting, but it's good that they have the option. And it's good that it's yellow. So, yeah, I think I'm in agreement with the rest of you. It's easy A, kind of a boring card, but it's good that it's in the color that it is. And it's a reason to put more Kurumis in your deck, so. All right, Brian, you get the one.
Yeah, this card. Kotri, Younger Sister. On your turn, if you have another date or elemental trait character, this gets 1,500 power. Sits at 5,500 vanilla power. On attack, if the choice is in your climax zone, perform the following action twice. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a date or elemental character or an event, add it to your hand.
Yeah.
Non-interactive +2.
Oh, yeah, double
Event.
+2.
It also hits on events.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
This is
We do-
like the most blatant power creep they've
Yeah,
ever
that's-
printed in the
That's kind of
game.
gross, yeah.
It's like so disgusting. Like you read it and you're like, wait, there were cards that hit at this same power level that did this same thing, didn't hit on events, and only did it once. But this one gets to do all this for no reason. And it's on
This
choice.
This makes choice. Yeah. This makes me just want you to go back and just delete that whole argument about not being able to grab events ever.
Oh, it's fine. I already deleted it. It made the video like 2.5 hours long, so I cut it. But yeah, this is absolutely gross. The card in a vacuum is unbelievably broken.
Mm-hmm.
Non-interactive +2s, even that are completely non-selective, are not okay. The only bad part about this card is that the way you will build your deck means you have to hit your level 1 combo to do it. However, there are a lot of tools for you to get your level 1 combo, so that's kind of negligible. The other one is that even on first deck, if you double this, because there's no reason to tri-field this combo. If you tri-field this combo, you go to like 12 hand, and you're going to have to ditch 5 cards. So unless you need to mill that many cards, there's no reason to ever triple this. So you get to only double it, which increases the consistency of doing the thing, because you're going to +4 off 2 of these. If you, even with only 2, you're favored to double trigger, even on first deck, more often than not. So you have to have ways to, like, get value out of paying out climaxes, like, immediately in some way. Data Live has ways to do that, but, like, that's really the only quote-unquote drawback of running this card.
That's the point to note, is the fact that the only thing it doesn't hit is climaxes. So it'll stop on climaxes and will trigger them itself more often than not.
Yeah. So this card...
You go through 3 cards potentially to hit a climax.
Yeah, and you
I see what
stop
you mean,
at
yeah.
the climax. So it's like more often than not, especially on second deck, and like unfortunately for the card, not really unfortunate. I was doing air quotes there. You can't see it because this is an audio medium and not visual. However, is that on second deck you're definitely triggering in every lane you play this. Every lane you play this, you're triggering. You're probably triple triggering. Like when you play this
kind of
combo.
might need to have ways to pay out that stock immediately. You're not going to be able to just sit on a mountain of compression and stock.
And pay 3 saving feels like shit. So I don't know. Choice kind of helps it in that regard because you get to bag it and move it down. So when you play it on a choice turn, every other choice that you trigger just becomes selective bag because you're gonna overplus your hand anyway. So unless you need a specific thing, which is most lists that are running this are running 2 free fresh because free fresh is pay 3 as a way to like, oh my god, I triple triggered, I need to get the fuck out of here. So because it's choice, you can always grab that if you need to, or you can just stock charge.
If you're always so if you're like always like having to pay out 2-3 stock because you're double triple triggering because you're likely to hit climaxes with this. Seems like building stock with the deck might actually be a little bit difficult.
You'd think that, but it never is. And the big reason why is that what this card allows you to do at level 0 is tri-field every single turn. Because what do you care about your hand? The second you hit level 1, you get your whole hand back.
Yeah, you just refill.
Yeah, it just lets you play like an actual idiot. It lets you Eagle Screech every single turn. And just like, you just don't give a shit anymore. It creates like a really disgusting gameplay loop to watch happen. It's like, the card's just not okay. I would get like, this is not just S. This is not okay. Not okay. That's this kind of card should never be printed. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. S plus. Like, ugh. Like, and the thing is, like, I don't even play this card anymore, and I'm not, and that's because I'm a snake-bitten piece of shit. Card's broken. Someone luckier than me can easily make it work, Or you can play different climax splits. I know that people are playing with pants, D-Kit King, so that you get your... Because you want to play this every turn, so you get your choice back with the Toga finisher and stuff. So, like... But I don't know. This card in a vacuum, not okay. Broken. Absolutely stupid. Not right.
I don't know. To me, it's sounding like it just reads stronger than it is.
No, it's strong. I'm just a snake bitten piece of shit.
You know, I'm the contrarian. You know, like I get it, but like I'm not like this is getting an S for me probably. Yeah, I'll like give it the S, but like I'm thinking like it maybe just reads like a little bit stronger than it actually is. Because like if it was actually an S plus Carmen, you would be running it in your deck. You wouldn't have moved off it to a different.
Yeah, I'm just like I have consistency issues with the card, and the consistency isn't hitting it. It's having a way to, like we said, generate meaningful advantage on a follow-up turn, other than just going like,
you know, you like, oh my god, it's a +2. That's crazy. And it's like, well, I can +6 cards in a turn maybe. But when you're overplussing and you end up with 10, 11 cards, this card, those aren't real pluses. Those are.
Right, exactly.
It depends on the meta that you're in. It's really dumb in JP right now because of Grisaya being a big deck and having anti-heal. So who cares if I have to ditch 2 cards to heal when I +6? You know? Like, that's why it's good there. We don't have that kind of stuff going on, and the anti-heal that we do have is stock. So that benefit, quote-unquote, might not be as...
What I really like about it is that...
big of a deal.
Yeah. Like, what I really like, though, is throughout the game, like, it has a lot more value than a normal level 1 combo.
You just play one.
Because even later in the game, like, at level 2, level 3, on your second or third deck, like, you know, you just play one of these, and you can still get a +2 without even having to get a reverse. So,
like, the way the deck plays when you're playing Choice X is you slam 2 of these plus another card, and there are some really good cards that you can pair this with, where you can, like, bounce it back to your hand, or there's, like, a coterie that when she dies, you get to pay 2 and, like, add a card from your grave. So, like, basically every single turn, you field 2 of these in a choice, and you just ram them into whatever the fuck is on your opponent's board. And, like, you literally, you play the way that people make fun of people playing Weiss. You know? Like, people that, like, just like, oh, all he does is slam 3 cards, play the climax every turn, you know? Like, you play like that, and it's the right play. And I think that is, like, a disgusting gameplay loop to, like, watch happen and have it be correct. Like, because the card is so dumb. Like... when you're doing that, like, there's, and like, God forbid, we didn't even talk to the event. The fact that hits on the event in the same fucking color means that you don't even need to do anything to win board because you're adding the event to your hand. Like,
definitely lets you run a high event count and not get punished for it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Card's gross. I guess we can move to the next disgusting card, but I just like, this card's not okay. This is not good card design.
No, absolutely not.
This is a mistake. This card is a mistake. Let's move on to another mistake. We got this Kurumi.
The next mistake.
We have this Kurumi. This is the off finisher that we talked about in the TD video that invalidates every other off finisher in the set. A ridiculous reason for you to splash enough yellow, even just to play a level 3, is specifically this card. Let's going to run it down here. 2 or more other data or elemental characters. So if you're playing the fucking game that sits at 10-5 and has, when you reverse your character, you can kick it to memory. This is really important against things like Slime. You hard remove things that have hand on core. Important for Slime and Konosuba. Some of the only decks that can even stack up against this in English. This is like an out to them sticking around. Pretty gross. Also heals. No reason. Why not? Why wouldn't it heal? We get to every single level 3 heals. Who cares? And then on attack, you can pay 3 and ditch a card. If so, you Icy Tail your opponent for 5, not 4, and you also gain 2,000 power. Notably, all the other finishers, for the most part, that you would want to run, or you would pair this with, are free. So, this pay 3 doesn't really mean much, because they don't have costs. At least not in stock for their finishers. So you can, like, double Kurumi Icy Tail for 5. And that's like a normal finishing board that kills literally every deck in either meta. It's really fucking disgusting. This card is, like, absolutely gross. And I love it. It's so dumb. Like this one flies under the radar for the other like 2-3 super broken cards, but this card's absolutely insane. Just absolutely nuts.
Really good synergy with the level 1 combo. Also, maybe like even if you're level 1 comboing like at level 3 or something.
Yeah,
you're gonna be triggering all those climaxes, then you just
pay 3,
pay them right out. Yeah. Yeah, seems.
I can honestly, I think if they do change this card, and it's just me being, that guy, devil's advocate here, I think they take the memory kick away. I don't see the memory kick staying in English.
Oh, I don't see any of the cards in the set being changed in general. If they were to hit this card, they would remove the Icy Tail effect entirely and give it like 500 or 1,000 more power. They wouldn't think too hard about it. This card's absolutely insane. Like, there's no reason to even think about running another off finisher. How hard is it to put in 6 to 7 yellow? Like, it's just free.
I mean, considering that you're already considering you're already running yellow for the event.
Yeah,
this is no issue.
It just further supports you running the yellow event.
The card is just a Swiss Army knife. Like, it does so much shit for just being one card that you just run 2 of this in every deck.
God, it heals too. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's just gross. It's like the longer you read it, the worse it gets. Well, like the better it gets, right? Like it's just another S. This card's dumb as shit.
Yeah.
Like I knew yellow was gonna be this way. It's like every card just dumb as fuck. The extra 2,000 power is so dumb. That means this card of its own devices if you kick the effects 12-5. Like.
I don't know how important is the memory kick effect at level 3 though? Because like you can't really early play this.
Well,
a lot better than you think.
Yeah, like I mean, you don't get you just completely eliminate.
What if your opponent's only out is pay 3 encoring their character to have like enough attacks to like swing 3 times at you to kill you? What if that's their only out? Goodbye, gone, sayonara. Like that's it. Like it just outs that situation. Like, they just say, nope, you don't get a chance to encore your card. It's gone.
I guess, yeah, like, I mean, just on its own, the clock kicking and the Icy Tail, or, like, the clock healing.
Yeah.
And then, like, the Icy Tail effect is already, really, really good.
And then it's also a memory kicker.
Deck, and then you just get the memory kick effect.
For nothing.
It's just, like, a nice little bonus, I guess.
Card's dumb as shit. Alright, Drew. This one's you.
Oh, sweet! I got this card. This is a card I actually can't wait to test a little bit because, well, it's first. We'll get through it. We'll get to it. So I'm playing all of your other characters with date and or elemental gain 500 power. You can also rest it. Select 2 characters with date or elemental in your clock. Send them to your memory. At the end of the turn, choose 2 characters in your memory and place them to the bottom of your clock in any order. The show also has the ability to rest it. Choose up 2 characters of date or elemental in your waiting room and put them on the bottom of your clock in any order. And if you move 2 characters this way, at the end of the turn, put the bottom 2 cards of your clock into the waiting room.
Clock manipulation. This is meant to support the Kurumi cards within this set, because unfortunately, those other Kurumi cards from Fujimi you cannot play in this deck because. Even though they're Neo standard, they're off trait for some fucking reason. So this is just clock manipulation to support the other cards.
A lot of the Kurumi stuff in the a lot of the Data Life Kurumi stuff in Fujimi had to deal with having
weird
3 or more
clocking
cards or 3 or less
consistency.
cards in your clock.
Yeah, it's the same thing
meet
here.
Those conditions.
Yeah. So in your Kurumi waifu, you definitely run it.
I like this card for the simple fact that let's just say you're playing either against well, it doesn't even matter what you're playing against. Let's just, for instance, say like you're playing against someone that knows you and you're playing slime, and someone leaves you sitting there at 0-5, and they're like, yeah, he has no way to get to he doesn't have you know what I mean. Like let's just say you're out of your Ricky, he has no way to get to level 1 to kick off right now, and then you play this card, you just get there.
Yeah,
it just gets you there.
You don't have access to self clock effects. There's so spoiler alert: no real Ricky in Data Life.
That's what I was just.
They don't need it. They're like the best set without it. But this isn't out to being level locked if you're worried about that kind of thing. I think that in most builds, your zeros are actually so stupid in Data Live, you don't even care about getting level locked. You can generate so much advantage with your fucking level zeros in like both metas right now that it doesn't matter. But like that's a discussion, I guess, for another time. But this is like mainly to support the Kurumi waifu cards.
Probably more for like standby than level 1 combo. Just like get yourself up to level 1.
Yeah, it was a tech index like that to like accelerate yourself to the 2/2.
There's I think it's a super playable card though. I think like you look at those 2 clock effects and you think, oh, those are kind of like fringe, and maybe the Kurumi deck can play it. But in just any deck, there's going to be, a whole lot of shit happens in this game, and there's going to be times when like those clock effects are going to come in real clutch, and like at worst,
you could also
at worst it's going to be just at worst it's just a global 500. What were you going to say?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Andy.
No, you're good.
Popped into my head. You could also use this card to not lose a game when you literally have to refresh by attacks.
I guess, yeah.
Because you don't, you remove 2 damage, put it into memory, then you attack. Let's say you refresh, you were at like 3-6, you're down to 3-5. Then you can refresh, take the point, and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
It lets you live through that turn.
You get your last attacks off, instead of dying to refresh during your attacks. Or you could just play good Kurumi healer from last card.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, I don't know. You don't always have the stock for that, though. Like,
I mean, that's true.
It's free. This is like you can kind of like just salvage this back to your hand, and like if you're in that like terrible situation where you're like checkmated out of a game and can't attack, you can like actually just throw this down.
Yeah, it's like a get out of jail free card. Well, get out of jail by taking 2 damage card.
Granted, very situational. I get that 100%.
Yeah, it's like a 2 of, even in the decks where it would make a big difference, like Kurumi waifu for all the waifu cards. Sure. Like, you don't run a like fuck ton of it. You're only 1 or 2 of it, I think.
Correct.
Because
but I mean that's just like one scenario, right? There's probably a bunch of scenarios where either of those 2 clock changing effects could be useful.
Yeah.
Maybe like if let's say you're at 3-0, right? You throw 2 cards in your clock, heal them off.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
you could like a stock healer. You're at 3-0, or like you clock to 3-0, and your best option is to play a stock healer. You could like do it to stock heal.
Or let's just say, well, I mean, never mind.
You manipulate your refresh, like you. So
yeah, it could compress like, you too over refresh. That's the big
you're like
thing.
At 3-0, like maybe 1 or 2 cards in deck. You put a card into your clock, or 2 cards into your clock, or whatever. So they stay out of your put 2 cards into your clock. They stay out of your next deck, so it's more compressed. After you're done attacking for the turn, you've taken your refresh point. So that's guaranteed damage. So you heal off the refresh point, and then you get like 2 extra compression going into your final deck.
Yeah, those are like some of the like general scenarios I think that are really cool with this card. But still, I don't think those are good enough to like warrant putting it in the non-Kurumi decks.
It's good enough you could put it in any deck.
It could help with your color fix too. Like you don't.
I don't know. I wouldn't play. I wouldn't play a single copy of this like over the Kurumi Brainstorm and the Shido. Not
a competitive build.
But it's definitely interesting.
I think you totally could. The floor is
just wait till you see these other cards. You got to see these other cards, Andy.
For the floor.
Don't incriminate yourself early. This is slide number 4.
The definition of a niche card.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit better than a niche card. It has like a lot more practical utility, I think. I could see myself cramming one of this into a deck.
I don't know.
Oh man, this is already such a fun set to brew with.
Oh my god.
I might have to jump on the Data Live train too.
Brew with.
I'm like, I won't be playing 8 standby. I'll probably just be playing a random pile of shit with this card.
The problem is that every deck is gonna be like, I don't think you can build a bad Data Live deck, as the shit decks are like the shit decks are like mid A tier. Like,
that's fine. I don't build bad decks.
Disgusting. So. All right, next.
Have you ever seen a bad Andy deck?
They're special snow.
Loaded question.
Glitter green.
All right, next card.
Yeah, it's you. You're up.
It is another Kurumi level 1 combo. In case the Kotori combo wasn't doing it for you. During your turn, for each of your other characters with date and elementals, it gets 500 power. I think that's like the same thing as the Kotori. just about.
No, she gains 1,500 power if you're playing the game.
Yeah, on your turn, 1,500.
Okay, so like on
Yeah.
your turn, they're both plus 1,500, 2,000 power, or whatever.
Yeah. Mhm.
Climax combo on attack. If you have the also switch trigger, and you have another date or elemental character, look at up to 2 cards from top of your library. Up to 1 of them goes into your stock, and the remaining card on top of your library or waiting room in any order. So this is like a stock building combo.
I hate it. I don't like
Yeah,
this at all. I don't like
I guess
it.
it's okay for. Oh, never mind. I mean, I know the stand. I know the standby build. Like I already know it, so like I'm just contradicting myself. But I guess it's okay if you're playing standby. Like
It's built to like play with the standby, like the other. It's like they want you to play choice standby. They just don't want you to play Kotori Kurumi.
Right.
They want you to play Kurumi because like I get the idea with the card, right? It's like you're supposed to move the standby down
Yeah.
so that you trigger it, like you stock clean, then you trigger it.
Yep.
Or like maybe if you're playing multiple of this, you're not even taking the stock, you're just moving it always down, moving it down, right? Until you trigger it on your last possible thing. But like, I don't know. This is
But
just
then you're not getting the stock.
yeah.
That's the whole point to run the
Yeah.
combos to generate free stock.
Yeah, I actually hate it. I think
I
that
don't like it.
if you want to trigger a standby, you just play the Kotori and you add 2 cards to your hand and then trigger the
Right.
standby.
Digs you down to climax.
Yeah, I don't like
it's
it.
kind of like the antithesis to the Kotori combo, right?
Yeah,
Kotori combo plus is super hard, but you're always triggering climaxes. This says you get to run super clean and build up a lot of stock,
but
you don't plus.
you just don't plus. I don't know. I think that it's just not good. I don't like it.
It might. No Game No Life has a similar combo, like the one
my
Shiro
God.
one where
Yeah,
you like
I think
put the
this
card
is
on top or bottom of
This is
stock.
strictly worse than the Shiro combo.
Yeah, it's just a lot worse than the Shiro combo.
Well, I don't know. The
Takes
big
a
problem-
lot to say a single No Game No Life card is better than another card.
Well, the Shiro's effect is stronger, but
The Shiro also
it's a bigger
drop
picture
turn.
thing. You know what I mean? Like the problem with running as someone who's played a lot with a combo like this, that Shiro combo, the biggest issue with it is that you have to find your pluses in some other way if your level 1 combo is not plussing for you.
Yeah.
And No Game No Life really struggles with that. But Data Live's a busted fucking set, so you could probably run this card, build up a shitload of stock, and then just plus some other way. Because Data Live, you can probably plus super hard
Somehow.
some other way pretty easily.
I don't know. I still hate it when it
No,
you're
I don't like it.
it's like if you wanted to trigger a climax and like do something with clean cards, you just play the Kotori. Like it digs you into a climax and adds 2 cards to your hand, which is just objectively better than this card because this card doesn't sit cross turn. Why doesn't this card sit at like 6k or something? Like why? Why is this an on attack like only on your turn?
Well,
Like this is a defensive card. This is a defensive
Yeah.
card. It is a defensive climax combo that like doesn't plus.
Hey,
like-
we wouldn't want to make Data Live 2 broken now.
I
Yeah,
don't
this
know.
one's
There,
a- this
there,
one's
there
a
might be
stinker.
a build out there for it.
Oh, so let's
It'd definitely
say-
be real build around though.
let's
Yeah.
say, I mean, let's say you are running it with standby, right? You obviously dual field this with something in the middle. You swing with the first
You
one.
swing with the shit card, then you
Yeah. You know what I mean? And then
You can stand by over your shit card.
standby over the shit card. Oh, you can even stand by over each other. It doesn't have to sit there.
I don't know.
Like the first
If
one-
you wanted to do that, the Kotori is literally more consistent, even on first deck, at
No,
digging
I
into a
get that.
standby.
I get that, but we're not great. We're grading the cards on their effects, right? Not like,
Yeah. I
like
mean,
the effects. The effect itself isn't bad.
it's
got
fine.
utility.
I would never play this combo. Like, yeah, like
If you wanted to play this combo over the Kotori combo outside of waifu decks, it's because you want the extra stock.
yeah.
All right, so
and, like,
let's
running clean.
Let me ask Carmen. Let me ask you this: take the fact that we already reviewed Kotori out of the way, and this was the first one we looked at.
I would
what would
still
you give
say
it
it's
then?
bad. It just doesn't plus, and I don't like the effect, even with the idea that you're triggering standby.
I agree. I'm just.
I think if it had
don't
twin
think-
drive, if it also had twin drive, so that it could pay out successively triggered shit, because like then sure, but like I don't know. It's just
Being
not good
able to
enough.
build up a mountain of clean stock is very appealing.
But this doesn't though, because you can't.
does.
The only way it does, so if you reveal a clean card in a climax, you have to put the
Put the clean card in your stock, you send the climax to the waiting room, and then
Discard the
trigger it.
climax, yeah.
No, wait. Choose up to one of them. Put in your stock. Put the remaining cards on top of your library in any order. Or your waiting room. Oh, I missed that part. Okay, so it is clean, or it lets you at least try to be clean. No matter how much you scrub, you'll never be clean.
Dude, yeah, if I play this card, I'm triggering 2 climaxes every time. I'm literally revealing 2 climaxes every time, flipping
Yeah.
the table,
You just
Stock climax.
yeah.
knocking down the COVID-19 barrier, and walking out of the shop. I'm done.
Rest in peace, top deck.
Oh my god.
All right,
I
next.
don't know. I
card.
feel it's got potential though. Like as a stock builder,
Yeah, sure.
and Data Live's a good set. You can plus some other way to compensate for not having a plus in combo.
Who has this,
Dude.
Brian?
Yeah.
I like how they throw 2 cards in between 3 broken cards.
Yeah.
Broken card number 3.
This one is Kurumi swimsuit look, not the card from the TD.
Okay.
2,500 power backup. When you use this card's backup, you may pay 2 and free fresh.
Standard free fresh profile, pretty good when you need
But
to
with this
fucking
deck, it's
pay
even
3.
better.
Yeah, because what if you triple trigger and
Yep.
you just pay 3 and you're like, I'm out of there, buddy. Let's get out. Like, and you just probably like threw a bunch of cards in your hand. So Yeah,
you're like, "You
important
almost
card.
had me."
important
Like, it's
card if
synergy
you're
with
playing.
the-
Like you play one of
Yeah.
this in pretty much every deck.
Mhm.
But like I was playing 2 with Coterie just because of that case. I think it's more important when you're playing.
Yeah, I was
choice
just
to
about
one.
to say, considering you're in yellow with Coterie, who seems a little
Well,
climax trigger happy, this
It's another
gets you
reason
out.
this is good. 'Cause this is yellow. So like if you're trying to splash yellow, why not run a free fresh counter?
Yeah.
Right?
turns out
lets
this card.
you
Yeah, turns out this
let-
set has some pretty good yellow cards.
Mhm.
lets you pay out your climaxes you guarantee triggered with
It's Coterie, yeah.
Kotori, and then also can protect the Kotori, so you can combo next turn and get your hand back.
Maybe, I don't know. Coterie's only 4K, so
Yeah, if you want-
Oh yeah, but they'll be like, oh, it's only 4K. I can swing something.
Yeah,
shitty
maybe.
into it. And then you're like, I got you with 2,500.
as a 2,500 power counter,
Bitch.
you're probably playing standby in your other lane too. So like having just a 2/1 2,500 counter,
yeah,
like,
you can
fine.
stand the
You can
card.
use people always forget this shit, dude. You can use a backup on a weak lane. Because your
Yes.
opponent's going to be swinging their weak lane into your weak lane, and then you can get them. It's like, oh, your character's only 1,500 power. I'm going to back up to 2,500. Sucks for
What do
you.
you mean? What do you mean? Forget this shit, Andy. I've been backing up weak lanes since fucking sync was a thing, bro. Come on, dog.
hearing all my trigger words: no game, no life, sync.
Been back. I've been backing up weak lanes since 2018, boys.
All right. Yeah, I mean,
Just
card's
to
good.
sync Carmen's brainstorms.
I'm gonna give it a B plus just because it's important for Data Live to have. I think if it didn't have this
It's-
card in this color, it would be big feels bad.
Yeah.
Even if you chose to run like no other way to like pay 3 and like get something out of it,
Yeah.
important card.
It's just hella obnoxious, you know?
Yep.
Refreshing on top of just healing and healing at the top end.
Yep. Why wouldn't they do that?
We love when every card heals for no reason.
All right. Well, here's another card that does a bunch of shit for no reason. We got this Coterie. It's a 2,000 power assist in front. When this card is placed from your hand to the stage, choose one of the following 3 actions and perform it. Look at the top 3 cards from the top of your library. Choose up to 1 any card. Put it in your hand. Put the remaining cards in the waiting room. This is the main way Data Live digs into its climax combo in pretty much every single deck. Because it also has these other 2 modes on it. You may salvage a character, or give your entire field 1k1.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really annoying playing against.
Because you think they're playing standby, right? They can't push you for damage. Nope. Nope.
I made the mistake of just being 1 card in deck against Brandon, and he went for like the Kirby
shuffle
thing,
back,
or the
shuffle back.
and then he's like, I'm gonna give my field an extra soul. Like, oh shit! I'm not getting burned, but he's just slamming me. I'm eating it all.
Yeah, it's
Oh my god!
it's so fucking obnoxious. This card's gross because right, it's good when you stand by it. It's good when you play it in 3 different ways. Even if you don't need any sort of card and you sculpted to have this in your hand, 1k1. Like,
It's also
yeah, geez.
it's also still 2 soul, so like regardless.
And it's
Just
nice and
because
weak too.
Yeah.
And if you want a supplemental attacker, you can get whatever effect you want off, hit him for 2 souls with it or whatever.
Crash
and then
it,
if he
whatever.
Dies,
Yeah, crash it.
you can reverse.
Yeah, card's dumb as shit. This is really stupid. The level of consistency. This one isn't like the S tier, because this is like if you took 4 different level 3s and you put them all on one card. The only thing this card doesn't do is heal. But guess what? Every other level 3 in your deck heals. So it's like, yeah, card's dumb.
It's just so nice for deck building. You can run such like a,
and it's also yellow.
Such a clean top end, like such a clean, consistent, like 4 of your finisher, 4 of this, 4 of that, and then you kind of just have this jack of all trades that does it all. It's all your tech cards rolled into one.
Look how easy it is to splash for yellow, dude. 2 of this, 2 of the off finisher, 2 brainstorms, 2, 3 Shidos, which we'll get to in a couple cards
I don't think
here.
you're even splashing yellow anymore. You're just playing yellow.
You're just playing yellow, yeah.
Yellow
For the most part, you are.
especially,
You have to splash it in 8 standby is where it's really hard to fit. It's really hard to jam yellow. It's harder to jam it than you think.
I feel like you'd play this. This would be one of the ones you do play in 8.
Yeah, you run it. You run it no matter what. You run this
Instead of
card in the
2000.
off finisher no matter what. Like all the time, and you probably play some amount of brainstorm, some amount of Shido level 0. The thing is, like when you're fixing for yellow, it's if you're playing it in the standby deck, you're saying I want to beat other standby decks and beat other Dal decks. So you want to be able to play it at level 1, like instantly, so that you can kill their 2/2s. Which is why like jamming yellow means you're like trying to run like more like 11 to 14.
A lot of the yellow cards you don't need to field either, right? Like
no,
you can stand by this from grave, the counter from before.
So you can clock
them. You don't
them,
need to meet color requirement.
Yeah, you just clock them.
So you can play them even when you're not meeting the color requirement.
Right.
Yeah. The big thing is like you're looking to get somewhere between like 11 to 15 yellow if you're trying to play the event, because you want to be able to play it on your first level 1 turn to. If you're a standby deck and you got to level 1 second, that's really bad for you, especially in the mirror, right? But the My Little Shido event just says, I win this lane. Like, it's saying, like, no, you lose. Get out of here.
You could probably go, like, really low pretty easily with yellow. Like, if you're running, like...
Well, it's about fielding it at level 1.
Red, blue, and one splash yellow or something. I don't know, right? Like, it's easy enough to just play 3 or 4 brainstorms, 4 of the event, 1 of this, 1 of the counter.
Yeah, like
something.
You probably play like I'm pretty sure every deck I've ever seen. If you're not running 2 of this and 2 of the off finisher, the Icy Tail, you're like fucking up. You're doing something wrong. I think. Like I'm pretty sure every deck runs 2 of these.
Those cards just seem bonkers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just this is just like a dumb consistency tool, and an X standby or 8 standby is just dumb as shit. Like,
yeah,
really dumb.
I mean, the options that this gives you, combined with the Kermi finisher that we haven't talked about yet, it's just options galore.
Oh my god, yeah.
You just do whatever you want. All right, moving on. Drew, you got this one.
All right, we got another Kermi here. If Frenzied Nightmare Kermi is in your clock, this card gets -1 level while in your hand. Also, when it's placed from the hand of the stage, look at up to X cards from the top of your library. Choose up to 1, put it in your hand. Ditch the rest. X equals the number of your characters with the date and/or elemental.
Go to or Kermi waifu only because.
Oh my god! Splashing yellow became even easier.
Well, you wouldn't run this.
Now your brainstorm funnels right into your early play.
I don't think you run this. Like,
I don't think you play this
because you only play this in Kurumi waifu to get your standby. I don't think you play it in any other deck.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how many brainstorms you're running in the first place and how hard you find.
Which is not many.
Yeah.
Usually.
I don't know. We haven't seen an early play yet. I think it's like pretty solid. Like if you just want to splash yellow for the event,
the other one's better.
Brainstorms and this, and there you go.
It's fine, but it's not as good as the Toka early play, which already isn't
early
great.
Play's not yellow.
Well, yeah, that's why I said this is Kurumi waifu only.
Well, maybe you just don't play the Toka early play. Maybe it's better for your deck to
early play
early
heal.
play.
4 more early play heal sounds pretty dumb. Don't like it. It's fine. It's for
Yeah, I
Kurumi
mean,
waifu
early
only.
play Top Check X seems perfectly playable.
Yeah, like
Works
I'm-
off of a good brainstorm.
I think it's fine. I just wouldn't play it over other options.
No,
It's
I
Kurumi
agree.
waifu
it's
only.
solid.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think the card in a vacuum is perfectly playable.
Well, here's the other thing: is we haven't really gotten to it yet. We've seen a lot of strong cards, but we haven't seen a lot of utility cards. Every utility card worth playing, outside of like one or two, is red. Fixing red is easier than fixing yellow. It's actually stupid.
What color's the Toka? Is she red or
red,
blue or
red?
Oh, she's red. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like it's equally easy to bring them in. You'd rather have 10-5 cross turn heal with 4 or more than a clock condition, like most of the time. Especially because you have the Kotri to top check 3 out of card. Like between the Kotri and the Arisu, the fucking cowgirl, you should have your fucking climax. Like you don't need a top check X. But I don't know. Depending on your build, it's easy enough to throw in.
Like if the drawback for not running red is, oh dang, I guess I have to run this shitty early play instead of Toka. It's only 10k and looks at X cards. Easy condition, that's like not really. You're comparing good cards to good cards at that point.
Yeah, it's just whatever. All right,
Yeah.
moving on. Andy, you got this one.
Angry Kotori. When this attacks, if you have one or fewer other characters, you can mill. If it is a level 0, it goes into your back row. On reverse, the battle opponent is level 0 or lower, you can put it into the stock. And then they switch it with other card in their stock. So we actually talked about this card, I think it was last week we were actually talking about this. We had a bit of a discussion about it at locals.
The Aqua. We were talking about the Aqua one too in our Konosuba, where it's like 500 power bombs are always going to be the best bombs, and this one also might randomly plus you, because like it's not a thing in the English meta, but in the JP meta, this card gets run because it just shits on Saikano, because it says, that 500 power drop search, that 500 power JC, get the fuck out of here. You don't get to use the effect. Mm-hmm. Because part of the drop search's cost is to send it to memory. So when you crash this into it, if they crash it into you, they get to resolve their effect because of turn order. But if you get to remove this and the JC from the field, and you might just randomly plus 2, and all of your zeros are dumb as shit. Like all of your zeros are stupid.
I feel like if you're running this card, it's like I feel like ironically this card would be like worse if this was 1,000 power instead of 500.
Oh yeah, a lot worse. Yeah, a lot worse. 500 power makes it so good.
I think the fact that it specifically can pick off 500 cards that will go to memory or do something obnoxious like that.
Overloaded cards.
In that condition.
Cards that are super, super overloaded. That are 500 power.
But like I think generally speaking, like the first effect isn't good.
It's fine.
It's not really good. It's only ever good turn 1.
It's fine.
Specifically good turn 1, and that's it. And then it's useless for the rest of the game.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's good at level 0. Like spawner is fine.
It makes you want to run 4 of this and a high 0 count, so you can consistently get that.
Well, I think you look at it the other way.
Early, but
I would run 2 of this because it shits on Saikano or any deck with a 500 power thing, and it's a decent enough yellow fix as an additional card if you're trying to get even more yellow into the deck. You just run 2 of it as an answer because you have ways to just get into cards for free in this deck. So it's whatever.
Yeah.
You just run it as an answer card.
I think it looks like a staple card, but in reality, it's a tech card.
Yeah. The first effect is that's a bonus. You run it because it's the 500 power bomb, and
absolutely.
In terms of being useful later in the game, these decks like Saikano, God forbid we get decks like that. I mean, we saw 500 power on reverse drop search in Adventure Time. That's a card they're going to field later in the game. So this is a card that you answer it with throughout the game. So not as.
So I don't know. Maybe you can just run 4 copies of it.
It's possible.
Doing it all game long.
Yeah, it depends on what your meta looks like, but important for them to have. I'm just going to give it a straight B.
I think Drew hit that one pretty right.
I see what you did there, Andy. I see what you
What?
did there.
What?
I see what you did there.
What?
Drew hit that one pretty right. See what you did there?
Ah,
See
got him.
You see it? Got him.
Got him.
Got him.
All right, who's this? Who's up? Is it Brian?
Brian.
Is it?
Brian.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's back around. Yeah.
This is Shido.
Damn.
On play, you can blink one of your opponent's characters to memory and then put it back. Also, you can pay one, send him to waiting room, look at top 4, take a date or elemental character to hand.
Pretty dumb. Pretty dumb. Pretty
Do you
dumb.
want to explain
Well,
to the
yeah,
people who
why
don't
is
get it
it-
why the blink effect's good?
Okay, so Blink does a couple things. First thing, cards like Obro combo or Aaron. So any of those things where like they do a thing and they get pop back or whatever, destroys those cards. They lose their effect because they're a new character on the field, so they no longer have their pop back ability. There are ways for you to actually play around that, and we'll get into it as the player being hit by Blink. But the other big use cases are Neg Soul Walls. They lose any cross-turn effect initiated by a Climax combo. Gone. Does no longer exist because it's a new character. As well as any card that has markers. So like Rem, get the fuck out of here. Get out. Lose your marker compression. Any card that has markers. I think that this card existing makes Gurren Lagann unplayable. Like, you can't play that set anymore. Or you can't play the red deck anymore. You can't play a single marker card. Because those, like, they bank so hard on stuff. Like, any deck that banks that hard on, like, markers, because at least ReZero has Felt and other things they can do, and Rem's healing.
Yeah.
But, like, decks that are relying on markers, this card's just, they're gone.
That's the
deck
only
is
thing that box
deleted.
does, yeah.
Yeah, like, deck is deleted. That's just, like, an easy example of, like, this single card just, like, wrecking an entire deck. The fact, and this is why, blinkers have existed for a while, but there have been 2,500 power, and the only thing they do is blink. This is a card where it is the perfect clean cut target. And guess what this set has? It is a 3K clean cut in a relevant color. So, like, if you think about it, this card, when you plus this card with clean cut, this is just like the best clean cut plus you could possibly get because it turns into another card. You attacked, and then this card turned into something else. So, like, it just does so much shit. Or it's just deck speed. It's just free deck control. It's just like deck control. It's a decent enough stock out. It's a better stock out on first deck than, like, a Brainstorm. You just get to run 2 to 3 of it. You just do whatever you want. Like, a card's just absurd. It's ridiculous. Why do you get to run 2 to 3 blinks and have My Little Cheeto in the same deck? This is stupid. Well, you just never lose board.
Yeah, the super broken event that we were talking about requires you to rest a character. So this is a good one.
This has good synergy
you
with
rest
that.
this for the effect, and then you can just immediately sack it to its own effect.
And what's the baseline? If you have the event in this in hand, top check 8, add 2 for 1.
The blink effect. So the blink effect can be super destructive. Important to note, though, your opponent gets to choose where they put the character back.
Yeah, that's what I was
So
going to get to.
they can put it into their back row, so you can't like run it over. Like if it has like a lingering power buff, let's say, and you want to shrink it, they can just like throw it in their back row so you can't hit it. But
Or like with Aaron.
It also is worded choose up to 1, so you don't have to pick
Yeah, you don't have to blink if you don't want to.
it's true, yeah.
But like for Aaron, right? Like I guess most of our viewers, they're English, so the Psychon example isn't as good. But so Aaron, when he combos, the AOT player naturally leaves a back row slot so that they could run their third lane if they didn't triple Aaron you somehow into that back slot with a gear. So they're naturally leaving back slots open anyway, which is kind of like why I guess we can get to it at a certain point. Like AOT matches up like kind of okay weirdly against Dal. Dal probably still wins the matchup because it's stupid, but they can blink Aaron. When you get blinked, your opponent chooses, like Andy said, so you just put Aaron in the background, he pluses anyway. They get a direct lane, but you get to keep your card, and you get to keep your plus. So, just a way for you to play around it when you're playing those kind of combos. It's like, that's what Psychon has been doing since Dal came out. It's like, they throw up their Katos, and then they just blink 1 to the back row, because on average, the Dal player isn't sculpting to hold multiple Shidos, because, like, having multiple of them is, like, kind of bad, because you, like, want 1 Shido and 1 event so that you can, like, at the very least, top check 4 add by resting him and then pay 1 sack at top check 4 add.
I guess it like really depends on your meta too. Like if you're playing in like a very soul wall heavy meta and don't
just
want
run
to
4 of
a
it.
bunch of wins, you can start like kind of hoarding these in your hand and then
blink, 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 and then they
Blink,
turn
blink,
into other
yeah.
cards. They turn into other cards. That's the grossest part. Like,
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't realize about this card was the fact that the opponent could move their card after it was blinked. So that's definitely something to consider.
I mean, it doesn't matter what it's. I think it's only relevant for level 1 stuff that's either tanking up
Oh,
or gets popped
for sure.
back.
For
Because if your opponent like isn't an idiot, they're like playing their Neg Soul wall combo to wall up as well as possible. So there's probably back row slots are taken up in some way, or like they gain power on having additional characters on the board. So like when you blink with a full field, they can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So the fact that you just get to incidentally run a bunch of blink on a card that's like pretty good baseline anyway in a deck where you're running that event or you're running clean cut, because not all decks are running clean cut, but they're still running this card because it's so good with the event, right? Card's just nuts. Like I have nothing else left to say. Card's ridiculous.
I mean, I guess even if the board is full, they can still blink to another slot. It doesn't specify open position of their stage. They can just play
To
it over
any
some-
slot on the stage. I guess they
Oh,
could. They could
okay.
minus. I don't know if
That
that's
has
correct.
applications though, like if they have like an on-death Chiuri or something, they can mill through the rest of their deck. Let's say if it's like clean cards or something, or
It's possible.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's
That's
actually translated correctly.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Someone out there, let us know in the comments. Can you blink something over something else? That might be like a ruling thing. Like, who knows? I know there's some weird stuff with these sort of effects. So
Yeah, that's pretty funky.
hmm
I
But
think it's grading time though.
yeah, I'm gonna just give this one the A plus. Not an S, but pretty damn close.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I think it
yeah.
depends on the meta it's coming into. Like I think it's more destructive to JP meta right now, just because there are more decks doing the Obero thing, notably Saikano, like Konosuba, like whatever. Which is that like twin drive pop back.
Mhm.
But like we have AOT in English, so it's like it's not as ridiculous. So it's
Not-
probably
not-
just an
not
A.
not as good in English maybe, but you know what? It's even when it's bad, it's still does what you
Yeah,
want it to do. It's still
the floor is too high with
so the floor is
clean
still
cut.
high because you
yeah.
can always just sack it.
Clean cut and the event make the floor of the card. Yeah, I'm back up to the A plus then. Floor's too high. Floor too high.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only reason it hasn't been pushed to S here is the fact that it's not always relevant in every matchup or super
Mhm.
powerful in every matchup at least.
It's just the second effect then, in which
It's
still
fine.
pretty good.
Yeah.
The 500 power demerit for that blink, only 500 power. Pretty gross. All right, this is me. So we got this Kotri. It's a 0 on play, reveal top, as long as it is a character or the My Little Shido event for the turn. This gets +1 soul. Card that incidentally hits on events. It's a 2 soul beater. Reveals your top trigger. So if it is a climax, you can like sequence your attacks differently. This card has really good synergy with the Kotri combo because you want to play that combo every single turn of the game as much as you can. So when you attack and you overplus your hand anyway, discard a card from your hand, bounce a character on your field to your hand. Bounce your Kotri back.
In a vacuum, it doesn't read that strong to me, but I like contextually.
Yeah.
Seems like a really nice, probably a good splashable or
Yeah.
a good tech card in those yellow decks.
2 to 3 of it in decks that you're running the Kotri combo, I think. I think the fact
Two to
that like
three.
yeah,
I don't know about that.
because you overplus hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your third lane.
If you're playing the Kotri combo, the fact that you can just
I mean, I don't know if that makes it.
If
two
you
or
go to
three.
eight-
I think it's like maybe a one of.
No,
but
this is your third
one, two.
lane. This is your third lane every single turn you play the Kotri combo, I think. More often than not.
the fact that it just gets an extra soul for free is super
It's an extra
relevant.
soul for 3, and then you're plussing. No matter what you do, you're going to 8+ cards. You're going to have an extra card. That makes it free. Literally free. Ditch any card. What if you're flooded somehow or some shit like that, and you have cards but you still want to play Kotri
Well, if
combo?
you're flooded
Throw your
somehow,
shit.
you need to get rid of cards.
Well, I
you can
mean-
just discard naturally if you.
Yeah, but
go
this
over.
gets you an effect when you go over, so it's better because it's free. and it pops your Code 3 back to hand, so you can play it the next turn. Because there's no way it's living, because it's 4K.
It's definitely like a good like tech, I think. But I mean, I feel like if it were me, I'd probably rather play like a different third lane.
I feel like playing it every turn is like the goal. So like this card just does that for free because you're overplussing anyway, no matter what.
Like I get it, you know, like
Yeah.
it lets you utilize the overplus to your advantage, lets you, you know, incidentally get a 2-soul beater and see the top card of your deck, which you can then use to help you.
You have so many powerful on-play effects in this set. Like there are so many cards that you'd run that you want to bounce. Cowgirl, like the Shido to blink again. The drop salvager is disgusting. You would bounce that to your hand a lot of the time. It's like fine even when you bounce back row cards.
I guess you're convincing me a little bit more actually.
There are just too many.
Maybe not so much for your combo, but just for your like incidentally like good techie like on play do something cards.
Because you're overplussing anyway.
Back, heal again. You could.
It doesn't matter what you're popping back to hand. It's the fact that you're overplussing every turn, and it gives you a way to use those extra cards during the turn before you discard, and using them is better than throwing them away. In like every sense, it's better to use the card before you lose it. So, card's really good. I agree. I'm more on the Brian train. It's like you only play it with choice. The card is dumb in that list. It's really, really good.
I mean, or you can get the infinite value strategy. You can play this down, get a soul, attack with it, bounce itself back to hand, play it every turn. Broken.
Well, you can't. You wouldn't do any damage because you.
I mean, who cares? Infinite value.
Well, no, you'd neg 1.
That's true. It doesn't matter though. You have this card in hand every turn.
Oh my god.
Top check. Information is valuable.
Not valuable enough to warrant just losing your 2-soul attack. Not strong enough.
I mean, who cares? Your data lab. The set's broken.
I think Drew had something come up, so he'll be back.
All right.
So we can move on. This is.
This is me then.
Yeah, this could be Andy. Yeah.
Okay, so level 1 Kotori, if you are level 3 or higher, gets the ability act pay 2, put this into your waiting room, and choose a Kotori Murderous Expression, which is the card to the left, and put it in the same spot. During your turn, all your other date and elemental characters get 1,000 power. So global 1,000 on your turn, and when you do hit level 3, you can just pay 2 to play the other one from your graveyard. I'm not a huge fan, to be honest, because you still have to pay for the early play. It's not like you're really even getting anything for free.
It's not even early. It's just level 3.
Yeah, it's just running extra copies of it, basically.
Yeah, like
this card already
you're
changes.
Already plussing so hard with Data Live, you know, like how are you not getting what you need?
Yeah, like there's no. This card has another changer to it too in red. I don't see a reason to ever play this. I think this is more of a flavor card.
It changes into the level 1?
No, it changes into another level. It changes into this level 3. This level 3 also has a card, another level 3 that changes into it.
Oh, okay. She does do a lot of changing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more flavor than anything.
Yeah.
But I don't like it. And the on your turn 1,000 power, this set just gets free power for free. There's like free power for free. It just gets power for free all the time. And
in standby decks too, I feel like you'd rather have the power on opponent's turn too, so.
Yeah, I don't like it. Not a fan.
Me neither.
Yeah, this card's butt.
Drew's back.
Drew's here.
All right. Brian, you're up.
All right. This is I recently Karumi. 1-0, 6,000. All of your opponent's characters get Encore for 2. This ability activates up to once per turn. When this card is reversed in battle, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's level 2 or higher, you may rest this.
So it's coin flip, like the Lizbeth from Sword Art.
Damage scry for your opponent.
Yeah, they get to look at the top. I mean, if you crash it on your turn, it's not necessarily. But when your opponent has control over when they reverse it too. So yeah.
The problem with this version of the card is that it is constant power with the drawback. And that drawback isn't like it's not the worst thing to give your opponent, but it's far from like the best thing that you
yeah.
want to be handing out, right? Because the Lizbeth is like a 4/5 that gains power on when it attacks if you like meet a condition, and then coin flips. It's like, who cares about what the power is cross turn, right? You're coin flipping. So it's like the fact that it gets extra power from the drawback, but then also has the coin flip. It's like naturally anti-synergistic. I hate it.
You're looking at it the wrong way. I think it's I think this is a card for like you have a level 1 that holds board, and you don't really need to put any resources into it. It's kind of like a card for aggro decks where you just want to like slam climaxes, hit them hard, and just I don't really care what you do with your field. I just want to have attackers every turn.
Yeah, but in an
Not really
aggressive
focusing on
deck,
plussing too hard.
you wouldn't run a ratio of cards that would make this card hit very often.
That's true. You're running just a lot of free.
Yeah.
Suppose
characters
so.
on here, level 1.
Like the Liz is good in Gara, where like you run a giant toolbox of level 3s and like a bunch of level 2 answers, so like it hits pretty often. This just doesn't do that.
Not.
Yeah, not a fan.
I don't know. I think as
like
far as like just a beefy level 1 that can like hold field like as a 1/0 that you don't have to like pay for, and like maybe live back to your turn. I think it has a place in a deck somewhere.
Maybe not in this set.
Yeah, maybe it's a good way to say it. Maybe.
Yeah. It's hard
But I
to
don't know, maybe
evaluate
there's
these like.
maybe there's like an aggro deck out there that would want this.
All right. We got this Kurumi. It is a level assist. Has the rest 2-card clock exchange. So this is a higher
It's a
level
level 2.
version. This is an
Yeah,
upgraded
the level
version.
2
of the other
version
thing.
of that level 0.
What did we give the other card? I think this is like slightly
A C.
worse. I gave that a C. This is like a C minus. It's like
Yeah.
the less splashable version of the same fucking thing. And there are better assists in the same color that you would be playing.
Yeah.
It's just like this Kurumi waifu only, where this ability makes or breaks cards in your deck.
This is a better standby target though.
You would never
It's
stand
actually
by
something
this.
meaningful to stand by to your back row.
You would never stand by this. Ever. Ever.
do
Based
you
on
mean?
targets in the list. You would never stand by this card. You could stand by it. It would be the wrong play. It would be a misplay.
I mean, it's a perfectly good effect to stand
you would
by your
always
back row
stand.
level assist.
You would always stand by another 2/2 over this, because the additional power, the way that standby decks are built in the set, you wouldn't have a reason to, because you have the costless back row Toka assist that is much better than this at like just giving 1500 power to a lane that you want to protect, because it also has other stupid fucking abilities on it. And then if you wanted an assist, you would stand by the Kotri assist. So like there would never be a
The
board
Kotri assist
state.
to level 3.
Yeah,
though.
but that's what I was getting to. There would never be a board state at level 1 where you would put a 2/1 assist on the board with the way any X standby or 8 standby deck is being built in the set. You would never stand by a 2/1 assist to the back row ever, because of the way the decks are like built.
Mhm.
It's just not what you would ever do, because of like the way the targets are in the set. So I don't think evaluating the card as a card that would be standbyed is like valid in any build that would run standby. Even weird waifu decks and weird like the Kurumi waifu deck, you wouldn't do this. I just think you wouldn't play this card. You would play the 0 version and call it a day as a tech.
Fair enough. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. I don't really know all the other cards in the set yet, so
Yeah, it's just like there's just
That's a
no
good point.
reason for there to be like a level assist is like the big thing.
like
Alright.
it's not a bad card, but just doesn't fit in.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit into any list. Like
okay,
weird.
I see.
All right. Drew, back to you.
Oh, sweet. This card. All right, so it's it's 500 in front assist, and then whenever your trigger check reveals a climax card, choose one of your characters, and that character gets +1 soul for the turn.
Dusaki.
Standby.
Bad.
8 standby. Push some damage. Let's go.
Sits in the back row. Ugh, gross.
I mean,
Whatever.
your level 1 Kotris will always be triggering climaxes.
Do they really need more soul? You slam a climax every turn in that deck. It's whatever, dude. This is like it's like a D plus.
I agree. Just trying to defend the card in any
It's
way
too
possible.
sacky.
It's not good. No.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a plus. I think it's just
Dude,
a
I'm
D.
playing this in 8 standby and just shoving damage all game. Here you go. Boom. Done.
I think you'll be opening up enough open
Gives
lanes
you, soul.
Now you're dead.
for extra
Now
soul.
you're dead.
You
Card
got
sucks.
the open lane and the thing. Yeah, I hate it.
It's
Not good.
it's not good.
Pretty
It's
bad.
not good. Sorry guys, I tried.
Alright, Andy.
Is this a combo off of a 2 soul?
2 soul, yeah.
Well, it's not really a combo, but go ahead.
Kurumi, 2 souls. Pay 1, rest it. Look at the top card of your deck. If it's a date or elemental, put it in your hand. Call that Takitsubo,
No, it's not.
the shitty kind.
No,
Right?
no. This is like the Heiress card that
What-
I got
Oh,
in an
you don't
argument
understand
with
it.
Brandon
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
And you don't got
Yeah.
a ditch either.
No, it's just a coin flip.
Pay
Pay
1
one
plus.
add. Pay 1 coin flip to add.
Yeah.
And then climax combo. Discard 2 cards from your hand. Add the 2 soul back to your
No,
hand.
play the two
no,
soul.
play the
Wait,
2
choose
soul.
an
Play the two
existing
soul.
way
It
in
goes to
your
the
waiting room,
climax
play it to
zone.
your climax.
Act ability, ditch 2, put the 2 soul into your climax.
Hey, this is like that Grisaya card.
Yes, it is exactly like the Grisaya card, except it's ditch 2 cards, not like pay 2 or some shit. Which is like worse. It's a lot worse that like you're playing an aggro deck, you're probably not building a lot of hand anyway, and this card is like ditch 2 cards to play your 2 soul again. But I mean, like
No. Use the trial deck combo
you
that
can't.
I geniusly proposed,
You
where
can't.
you block yourself, you get card. Well, yeah, you don't need to put cards on field because the Kurumis just do it for you.
You can't do both in the same turn.
Yeah, no, you could technically. You could.
No, you couldn't.
Yeah, you could.
No, you couldn't because you'd lose the 2 soul.
Yeah, 2 soul's a continuous effect. So
Yeah,
the
if you
climax
play a
phase is
climax during, so the way this works is if you play a climax during the climax phase, it plays over the current climax, and that climax goes
Oh wait,
to
this
grade.
is during main phase. You
This
put
is during
that?
main phase
Yeah.
because it's just like the Grisaya one.
It's an act ability.
Yeah, it
Ditch 2,
just
put
sits
the
in your
climax.
climax zone until you
Oh.
go to your attack phase.
Oh, I thought it was like a trigger or something.
No.
That's weird.
First effect is also shit, absolute garbage. You should never coin flip to plus like that when you're paying 1 stock. Fuck that.
Wow,
actually.
are you hating on Eris, Carmen?
Yes, I'm hating on Eris. I've hated on that since fucking Brandon put in his deck.
This set has a lot of ways to check your top card.
No, what? No, it doesn't.
A lot more ways to check your top card. A lot of surveillance
one.
packs.
As 1.
What are you talking about?
As 1.
I
In
know
a color we
Red
haven't got there.
constantly does that.
Red has the 1 red card that does it. It's the only card.
There's a 1 card we saw earlier that this reveals the top card when you play it. There's
Yeah, the coach, right?
the
The soul.
Brainstormer from the trial deck. There's definitely a
Okay,
few cards.
I'm not wasting time talking about this. This card is shit. Can we agree on that at least?
It's not good, no.
It's like C minus. It's D plus because of the 2 soul.
No,
two
C
souls dank.
minus for spice.
I'll give it spice. Give it spice.
Shit.
Pushing damage. Carmen's at
Brian.
level 2.
All right. This is Kotri, Suspicious Look. Act ability, discard a Kanazuki Suggestions for Relaxing from your hand to your waiting room. Choose one of the following 2 actions and perform it. Bounce an opponent's front row character or salvage a date or elemental character.
Interesting way to use a vanilla. Still garbage.
No, not worth.
Yeah.
It's not worth running the vanilla. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like this card itself, good. That vanilla card, not even worth being in the deck box at this deck.
Well, it just doesn't do anything else. Like this is the only spoiler. The only interaction with this vanilla is this card,
I mean, yeah.
which is
I
just
guess.
like, oh, I can run this vanilla to exchange it for another card. Yeah, it's just not good. This one gets the D.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
the D.
if the event didn't exist, I'd actually kind of like it maybe, but
Nope. Moving
That's
on.
bad.
Army Kurumi. At the beginning of your climax phase until the next end of your opponent's turn, this gains plus X power equals the number of Kurumi split body in your clock times 1,000, which is this card,
Oh
right?
man, 42
Brian?
of this card.
Huh?
This card, it's this card, right? This card is
yes.
Kurumi split body.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. This is not as hot as the Dojins. F.
42.
You like that one?
I did like that one. That was pretty clever. Actually.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I guess there's a chance that there's a lot of these in your clock, but like,
Yeah, well,
it sucks.
For this card to ever be remotely like,
You do have to run
you have
42
to
of
play
it.
a deck of 42 of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't like
Weiss
it.
getting a rating of 42, boys. You'll see it soon.
just 8K cross turn. We love it.
Broken.
I'm doing
Level
this.
0.
I want all of your copies of this card.
You can have them.
Dude, it's broken with the Carmen. You just add 2 more of these into your clock from waiting room.
I mean, we might have a set with more expected value per random pack than fucking Bang Dream Girls Band Party Volume 1 in a long time. Because this will be really good for a long time, and if you pull that secret Kurumi, you get $1,300.
Yeah, but you don't just get to bring this deck in like Bang Dream's like, hi, I'm Kyle. I'm here to play. I bought 5 boxes of Bang Dream and I have 700 cards in my deck. Let's play.
I guess. I don't know. All right.
Like you gotta have some sort of brain to play this set.
He's talking shit. On
I don't know
Kyle,
about
that's
that.
not
Have you seen Brandon play this deck?
No.
Yeah, well, you don't want to. It won't give you much hope for the game. All right, Drew, this is you.
This card's just sad.
What, this country?
Yeah, look
What?
at her.
She is
She's
looking
she's-
pretty
Oh
grumpy.
god, I
frowning,
skipped
yeah.
one. I skipped
Just
one. I
sad.
skipped one. My bad. This ability activates twice per turn when another of your characters with date or elemental is placed from hand to the stage for the turn. This card gets 1,000 power. You can pay 2 on an act ability when this card is placed in the waiting room from the stage. You may pay the cost. If so, choose a character with date or elemental in your waiting room. Return it to your hand.
Okay, so hear me out. Card doesn't look like anything special, right? As a third lane, when you're running choice standby in that specific lineup, this card is pretty dank. Because you attack with this first, then you attack with your coteries, digging into standby. You have a low chance to trigger on your first attack with this. So even if you dig into your other 2, you then stand by your 2/2 over this card, and then pay 2, play out your climaxes. Grab I don't know, a tech card or something.
Or even in the builds with the coterie combo where you're always triggering your climaxes. This is
so that's what I
gonna
just
die
said.
on the swing back.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Basically.
Oh, I thought you were talking about just you stand by over it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Trigger
When
a
you dig
standby
into it
is
I'm
your
saying
thing, yeah.
yeah, you can obviously do it if it dies on the swing back, which it's going to. It's a 4/5, but it's you can do it proactively. It's even better because you can do it proactively on your turn.
It's kind of like a good 5th lane if you want to have a full field but still trigger a standby. You're probably going to.
Yeah.
Because then you could just pay out the standby, put your big card over top of this,
And get a backup or something to protect it, or
And it has the other synergy of being able to if you want it to be a beater, you can. You just play it first in those cases. You just got to make sure you sequence it right.
Yeah, card is better than it seems in the choice standby deck specifically. This it also feels good just to have a beater auxiliary level 1 in the deck. You run 1, 2 of this. Feels pretty good.
One of yeah.
Yeah, it's fine card. Yeah. Outside of that one case, I don't think it's very good. So it's just a C.
Yeah,
it's
a
C plus.
C plus.
It's really good in that deck with that split, and it's not great elsewhere.
This is the card I was talking was sad.
Oh well, yeah, we don't waste time on
this?
vanillas.
Who is this cuck? This is a guy, right?
Yeah, he's the guy that's
He's
always he's the guy who's always fucking getting coterie to step on him and shit. You don't remember that from the show?
Oh, oh yeah, I do. This guy
Yeah.
is a cuck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, sure. Leave it at that. Next. I think this is back around. You got this one, India.
That last card didn't count. Cuck card. 2/1 Kotori. When you play it from hand, if you have 4 or more other characters with data or elemental, you get to refund your stock.
From waiting room, selective.
From waiting room. Very nice. On reverse, if the level of the battle opponent is higher than the level of your opponent, you put it into the stock. This is the card you told me about the other day, Carmen. This card's fucking great. This slaps.
This is so dumb. It's if you didn't think that they had a way to deal with early plays, what if they had a way to deal with early plays that expended no stock and, better yet, clean stock? It's clean that stock out, boy. You good. Whatever.
I do want to...
Relevant color.
Important to point out is that can be kind of cloggy if you have other cards that require 4 or more condition, like
Mhm.
an
Well,
early
that's why
play
you
or
have my
something.
little Shido, dude. That's why you have the Shido, the level 0. That's a reason why that card is so dumb, because you have multiple 4 or more things. So, like,
Okay.
you play down your early
yeah,
play,
dude.
and then you sack your Shido, and then you play this!
And then you get your sock back.
Yeah, it's so stupid, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it is very, very.
In terms of a bomb, this is like one of the best anti-early play bombs I've seen. It's like a B. It's like, you have
do you play this in like an
B
A
plus.
list though?
The fact that
No.
it plays for free, yeah. I
You
think
put
it's
this
worth
in,
a try.
like,
I think this is like for non-standby builds.
non-standby decks, yeah. It's
Non-standby
really good in the
decks is probably
choice
gonna
decks that
run.
are all in, right? Because, like, when they're all in on the choice combo and they're doing it every turn, it's just like, oh, well, like, I'm crashing anyway. Might as well kill my opponent's early play for free.
Mhm.
Like, it gives you a good way to clean, like, pay down an additional stock because it cleans it. Like, a really good synergy with the choice combo. All right.
All right, Brian.
All right. Yeah,
This is
speaking,
the card.
Card.
speaking of things that remove the opponent's early plays for no stock,
Yeah.
this is the event. This is the yellow My Little Shido event. 1-0, choose one of your standing characters with date or elemental trait and rest it. If you do, choose one of the following 3 actions and perform it. Look it up to top 4, take one date or elemental character, reveal it to your opponent, add it to your hand. Choose one of your opponent's level 1 or higher characters. Your opponent chooses a level X or lower character from their waiting room. Swap those characters. X is the level of the opponent's character -1. So it levels down the opponent's character with something of a lower level from their waiting room. Or if you have 6 or less cards in hand, choose a level 3 or higher character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. So salvage a level 3.
Notably,
This is
if
actually
this is-
broken.
If
This
this
is pretty
the,
stupid, yeah.
We found this out playing the last week at weeklies, but if this is like the 7th card in your hand and you play it, you then have the 6 or less card requirement.
Yes.
So even if you have a full hand, you
yeah.
can still do the last effect.
That's pretty stupid.
Because you play it, then choose the effect. So it's not like if you have 6 or less cards in hand, you can't play this card. You still play the card. And then... Yeah, this is... If there's a single card in the set, it's a tie between this and the Kurumi finisher for what is more stupid.
This for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
what I hate about this card is this just says field doesn't matter.
Yep.
Nothing matters. All that matters is that I have this card and I have something to rest and I win board. Like, your opponent,
Dude,
the only
it's-
out
and-
is hand on core. Your card has to have hand on core because the way the swap works, I feel like the other 2 effects, the other 2 modes are self-explanatory. So we're really gonna dig into the second one.
Yeah. Okay, so you can
You
encore
can
on
hand
swap?
on core, and it's
Okay.
even better than that because say you have a card like Chiri with an on deck effect. The way it works is the swap happens and then encore primes, and the card is already there. So you could put a Chiri down, hand on core your like Shizu or whatever is the most obvious case, right, with slime, and then you hand on core the Shizu's over top of it. The Chiri hits grave. You pitch for the Chiri. So cards with on death effects can sort of play around this, but that requires that you have a card with hand on core. Or you pay 3 to encore your character, and you have to remember, Data Live is also a set that has access to just arbitrary power too. So they could level down your thing just to get you to burn resources and then run you over anyway, and then you just wasted all your shit. Like if you're gonna like try to counterplay the level down with something cute like that, really make sure you like you really want to do it, because a smart player could like fuck you with this. Like there's the idiot mode of just like, oh, I just leveled down all my opponent's shit and kill them. But like there are smart ways to use the card too, and that's what makes the card so fucking dangerous. It's fucking stupid as shit.
For having such a powerful techie effect, usually something like that middle effect to level down would require like a serious investment in deck building. Like you'd have to really make some deck building concessions to add an event like this into your deck and still have it run smoothly.
Yeah.
Dude, and
For having
can you
such a
just not-
powerful effect, like the option to have such a game-winningly good effect, but then also being able to just comfortably run 4 of this and say, oh well, if you're not running early plays, I can always just
If
mill
you're not
forward.
running anything I can't kill, it's not even early plays. If you're not running anything I can't answer, well, I'll turn it into something else. So I'll grab another healer. I'll
it's
grab
just
another
like-
finisher. Like
it's a mill 4 event. when all else
Also,
fails.
can we just
Yeah.
not ignore the fact that this fucking card's an uncommon?
Yep.
Yep.
I think we've
Great.
never seen like a double rare event, at least in English. They're always uncommons or rares. Very rarely are they rares.
It's just a really
Yeah.
stupid effect to be printed on a fucking uncommon.
Oh, and
card.
everything hits on this card too. Let's not forget. It's like it's
that's
never
all.
a liability to put it in your deck. So this event is like this is a master class of what happens when events are too good. I don't want to get on the same like thing again, but like this is what happens when you
Yeah,
overtune
well,
your events. Like
I'm
'cause,
inclined
like-
to agree with you this time, so there's not going to be any argument coming from me.
Yeah.
I would go as far to say I'm gonna give this an additional thing. I don't know what you guys think about this. That is a meta defining card.
100%.
This
Yep.
warps every meta that it is in on its own without even considering the other cards around it in any way. This card warps an entire metagame around it more than even an entire set. Like, this card alone is more meta defining than AOT a year ago. Like,
Yeah.
on its own.
It is.
Yeah.
Like,
I
it's
think,
disgusting.
Yeah, it's gross.
Because I think in an environment with this card, I would be incentivized not to play any sort of like defensive finisher, anything that has to like sit on field cross turn, anything that's building any sort of markers as compression, like rem or
Yeah.
login or anything like that. Anything that's like a soul wall or like rider where it has to. I guess that's my first point. Like, you know, anything that has to live to their turn and then during their climax
And
phase
is able to be
another.
targeted. Like,
Yeah.
worth noting, I was talking about how AOT kind of matches up okay. The fact that they have 3 character onboard hexproof, meaning that both Blink and this card don't work,
Can't hit them. Yeah.
yeah, is going to be like, I think AOT's
Yeah,
been
man,
kind of
that's good
falling
for-
down.
That's good for AOT, but
Yeah, but it doesn't do it for anything else. Yeah, I just
but
wanted
for
to...
Data Live, it's not like it's even a liability in that matchup because then you just cash it out for one of the other 2 effects.
Yeah.
Chalover's coming back.
Choosing
boys.
a level 3 or higher character in your waiting room that can be an early play.
Yep.
It's also something good. I don't know. Just the fact that you can't run as heavy for like defensive stally finishers maybe anymore with this
Mhm.
card around. At least not. in a
Yeah, it's just
conventional way.
gone. It's just
Yeah.
gone.
Like
They
like
just
if you
don't
look at
work.
the JP meta, like any sort of decks that are doing good, like the defensive ones, are memory decks. You don't really see anyone like building a bunch of markers underneath a rem or like.
Oh, yeah, because
Or,
you
like,
can't
stop
invest
the
in
pressure or
board.
something, yeah.
like-
Darling in the Franks.
You know how dumb your card that sits on board has to be to still warrant being played in this metagame? Saikano barely gets away with playing the change train because they can level down the 2-1 and put it back to the where you just paid 1 stock to lose a brainstorm and put your brainstorm back on board. Like, and that package is objectively broken, and it's barely being able to like still hold on against this card. Just this card. Not considering all the other things in the set that are stupid.
Yeah, and with this set, you can now grab just this card.
Yeah, you know what you want.
Yeah.
I think it's not going to be like a worst case scenario though. I know we talked about this a little, Carmen. How like
Yeah, like there are
I
things that
don't
can
think
be
it's going to
done.
be the end of the world. I don't think like English format is ending because this card
No,
is coming.
no,
We're
definitely
gonna
not.
end up in like I think
I
what'll
don't
end
think
up
the game's
happening.
ruined or anything like that.
What'll happen is we'll enter a rock paper scissors meta where Data Live is throwing 2 hands at once. Depending on what build the Data Live player is playing, they can choose to throw either hand. Between like Data Live, Konosuba after movie set, maybe AOT, ReZero after Frozen Bonds. There's gonna be some sort of like there's gonna be like it's like okay, if like nobody understands what saying rock, paper, scissors matter, you weebs, the fucking Fire Emblem weapon triangle. Okay, we're gonna get like a 4 to 5 5 triangle.
Sword, axe, and
Yeah, you know.
lance.
Yep.
Yeah, right. No, but it's just like we're gonna have something like that, I think. But Data Live's gonna be able to throw a hand in either direction depending on what build they're playing, and that's
weapon.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, weapon and they have a weapon
and, like,
in both
I think-
hands. It's which one they're swinging with.
I don't know, and because I don't know if I've ever really experienced it in any game I play competitively, if that's like, it's definitely not very healthy, but is it completely unhealthy? I don't know. I think we have to like wait and see see how
That's the
things
other
settle.
thing, too. With Konosuba's movie set coming out, barring, like we said before, they don't change anything, does Konosuba really suffer from this? Because Konosuba just kills you during their turn anyway. I don't care what you do. Like they never really gave a shit.
They
what
never
their
invested
does.
in their board to begin with.
Correct.
But the whole point is that this card, it's like AOT, right? Like, yeah, there's a bunch of cards out there. Like let's put Data Live back in Pandora's box for a second here, right? And let's look at AOT a year ago, right? So
Like year, like
yeah, there's
close to
there's
2 years
tons of
ago,
decks
probably at
that-
this point.
There's tons of decks, right, that don't need a reverse at level 1, so the Aaron combo doesn't really hurt them too much. Or there's stuff that like they don't need to target, right? You know what I mean? Like you're not targeting them, so Armin doesn't really hurt you either. But at that point, playing into it, you're just going even with them then, right?
Yeah.
But in the matchups where you do lose to something like that, the reason AOT is so powerful is because you know they have these game-winningly powerful effects.
All the
at
bully
zero
effects.
cost on their end.
Right.
Yeah.
When it's good for them, it's game-winning. When it's bad for them, it's still a plus.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's still a back row assist that pluses you, right? So even when it's bad, it's breaking even, and that's the same thing this event does.
Yeah.
When this event's good, it's winning you the game. When it's bad, you're just
It's
saying,
another
oh, well,
card.
it cycles for something else.
Right, it just gives
Yeah.
you whatever else you want, which is
I think the fact that it's
Pretty
two
high
filtering
floor, yeah.
effects, two meaningful filtering effects, one being very good in the early and mid game, and one being extremely good at the end game, is like I think the big thing that throws
Yeah.
it over the edge.
no, having
Like-
this card in your hand is never bad.
Yeah,
ever.
it's never bad. Literally never a bad card to have.
The only drawback I guess I could see with it is if you're falling behind, if for whatever reason like you whiff your level 1 combo, you know you're not able to like get a big hand and you're like falling behind in cards. The fact that you have to rest one of your characters to do the look at 4 effect could leave you really stranded for playables.
No,
Like,
that's-
you might
that's
not
true.
be able to get 3
Yeah.
attacks or something, but as long as everything's like going.
Normal. Not even well, just normal.
As long as you're not just completely shitting the bed, it should be fine. But that is
Yeah.
that is a notable drawback.
That's the
of the
problem.
card.
That's like I think that's the problem with the card design. And like the one thing I want to touch on is just, like all you people out there, and y'all know who you are, and the people that the rest of y'all know from your locals that complain about AOT, complain about this, complain about that. This is 10 times worse than AOT ever was and ever will be, because people were complaining about AOT when AOT didn't even have that high of a representation rated event. Data Live being a standalone set where AOT wasn't good until set 2. Okay? You had to have the other set already. This is a standalone set with like 5 playable builds that all run this card. And you're going to play into it round after round
Well,
after
yeah,
round.
everybody loves
I
it.
don't
No,
know.
not
Yeah,
even
no, you
not
are.
even at
You are.
regionals. Not even
No.
I'm not even talking about at regionals. You're going to
Nope.
play into it every round at your locals. If
Yeah.
you want to know something to actually complain about, you know people complain about AOT or whatever, say AOT's broken, blah blah, or just because AOT gives players a bad emotional reaction and it's never actually been a problem, like a real problem. This is a real problem.
Yeah.
You've never seen a real problem.
I don't know. I think it's really.
Dude,
I think it
it's
compares
just Andy. It's a
1-to-1.
set that everybody loves, dude.
Oh,
That's the
I
thing.
don't think
Like,
it's 1-to-1.
I think it is 1-to-1. Aaron used to be extremely destructive when everything in the game needed a reverse. Back when
Yeah,
the combos
but
everyone
that
was
was
running
like-
was Minami and
Yeah.
Shimikaze.
that was the before times.
It is absolutely backbreaking, and we're
Yeah,
at the point
'cause
with
it's
this
a
card
bully
too,
deck.
right?
But
At
this is
point,
more
this
than
card is,
bully.
like backbreaking. But even like 2 years from now,
But
right when standby's not as big, this is still going to be like
Aaron
people are still gonna be
doesn't-
bitching about it.
Aaron doesn't completely stop you from playing the game. He also has other working parts and things your opponent needs to do. This card is your opponent draws this card, you lose your board investment.
I don't know. Aaron seems a bit more destructive than this to me still, just because like
Maybe
completely shuts
back
down
in
your
that time
entire
period.
game plan.
It's hard
This
to
is-
think about Aaron that way now. because
guess,
where
yeah,
so
yeah,
many
yeah.
other things are good. But like maybe back then, like even going like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, where Aaron being like AOT having bully effects, because I would call the level down, that's a bully effect, right? Like to the nth degree. Aaron, I would say, is like a 2nd-degree bully effect. Armin's like a 3rd-degree bully effect. Like
I still don't know. There's just like how I see it is there's like effects in this game that are like stuff that kind of just goes like above and beyond. Like in general, a lot of people think Weiss is a game where there's no interaction. You kind of just unga bunga and just play your hand, and your opponent plays their hand, and there's no interaction.
yeah, which isn't true. Not true at all.
But yeah, to an extent, it can seem like that, but there is interaction. It's just more invisible. But these are really big interactive cards that most sets don't have access to. I think there's like a handful. I think Aaron and Gira are a big one. I think Seizure in Konosuba is another one of those big ones that allows you to really play on a different interactive axis.
Yeah,
both
this
when
is
combined
right
with
up there.
Fumio
Yeah.
and stopping their combo from having enough stock, and then this being able to like really cripple standby and early play strategies.
And you want to talk about people having bad emotional reactions. The reason I said that and went on that little rant there about people complaining about AOT or having bad emotional reactions to AOT, like even though like the card economy on it was never like that absurd. If you want to talk about a bad emotional reaction, this is going to be the worst feeling thing ever. And I can preach because I've been hit by it and I've done it to other people already. And the set hasn't been out that long, and it's already the worst feeling thing I've ever experienced in the game, or like I've experienced and I've done to someone else. This feels disgusting to do to your opponent, and feels horrific when it happens to you. It's the worst feeling thing I've ever seen. This will have the worst emotional reactions out there. 10 times worse than someone gearing away from your reverse.
Just imagine playing Persona and using your cat bus and then them playing this card.
God.
Get fucked. They wouldn't even have to do that. They could just blink it.
Dude. Or that. Or that. You know what I mean, though? Like, I'm just done at that point. I'm
yeah, that's just quit. Like, just quit. Like, I concede. Like, and Weiss is never a game where, like, you never give up, right? There's always a chance. Like, the variance in the game is high enough. It's like poker. You don't give up. You don't give up. You always play it out. This is a game that this can create situations where you should give up, and I think that's a problem. Like
absolutely,
like
I agree. Yeah,
against Aaron, and that's what I say. It's like we're talking about degrees of it being a bully effect. Like I don't give up because I don't get my plus with Aaron. I don't give up because I get seizures.
With Aaron, you have to at least jump through some hoops to make it.
Yeah, Seizure's a massive investment.
You have to build your deck around playing Gears and Aarons and all this shit. You can kind of. This is just stands on its own. It's not a climax combo.
Play me.
You just play this card.
You just play this card. And everything adds it.
It doesn't even have the drawback that events usually have of not being searchable.
Oh, the drawback is rest it. Rest it, dude.
Yeah, and all the control cards hit on this.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And you have prime targets to rest.
That it avoids.
Yeah.
Resting a character is a drawback. But it's just not enough of a drawback.
It means this card is like you either had to have a card live back or a card that you played doesn't attack that turn. Which, like, yeah, in theory, the card economy works out, right? Like, however, there are cards within this own set, which is a set that was all printed at the same time, that break that break its own drawback, which is just ridiculous.
Well, it's built around though. I wouldn't say it breaks it, but I mean.
Oh, well, I don't know if it's built around, because every deck is jamming this.
If you look at the blink card, right? The blink card has overlap with this.
Yeah.
The level down effect and the blink effect have a bit of overlap with each other.
Bit, yeah.
A little bit.
So you'd have to kind of run both of those, which is a little bit awkward.
Well, think about it this way.
Let's get outside of red. Let's get outside of yellow. Like, there's a level 3 finisher in green. Well, I don't even call it a finisher. A level 3 card in green that lets you grab any 1-0 event.
Yeah, just anyone. Yeah.
No way, really?
Excuse me?
Yeah. Yes.
That seems.
Oh my god, that's
Hold on.
ridiculous! I
Isn't
love
green
Data
next?
Live.
Isn't
Holy
green
shit.
next? Hold on, let me
Yeah.
look for it. Let me look for it.
We're a
49.
little bit.
I don't know if
past
that's
it
true.
being
I don't
overset
remember
at this
seeing
point.
that.
Yeah, slide 49. Slide 49. You search your library for up to
Oh,
one
it's a
event
level
to
3,
reveal
but
it.
still, I mean, if you want to level down somebody at level 3, it's fine.
You
Yeah,
can
I
either
guess-
you can level them down, or you can just use it and grab another copy of your level 3, then search another event, and then.
Well, that's for green, but like, yeah, I mean,
Wow.
we could just talk about all the dumb ways you could use this event forever. But like Andy, you're talking about overlap. I want to address that real quick with the Shido and this card. What if
Okay.
you're playing into Negsoul? That's not overlap. They played 2 Negsouls. You
Well-
flicker one and level down the other. Like,
Well, yeah. That's in the case where
that's like the upside,
cards
right?
are well positioned, right? That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, flickering or leveling down their field doesn't really have an impact.
But both those cards do other stupid things.
Both of these other cards have other effects to make them still worth it, but it still is a little bit probably awkward to have this card that you have to pay 1 and sacrifice to get your plus off to get a card out of it, and then this. But they combo well enough together that they get around that weakness. They can subvert that weakness.
they
if you have
subvert the
both.
weakness. Yeah. All right. Have we talked enough about this? This is
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
This is a problem. This is
We can all agree it's really good. We
if
can all
there's a
agree
single
this-
card from the set, I think I think after talking about it, I agree with you guys. I think this gets hit over the Kurumi finisher. This is this is too stupid in terms of single event. Where's the meme where they just called this card "My Little Cheetos"? As had the Cheetos guy on it,
Mhm.
Chester Cheeto. Yeah, this card's cheating. This card reads, pick one way to cheat. You got 3 of them. 3 cheats in 1. All right, we good with yellow, guys? Ready to move on?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, we'll see y'all in green.